So this video focuses on Erik Erikson's stages of psychosocial development. Psychosocial development is a type of psychology that traces how our perception of ourselves, our identity, changes or develops through social interaction. And Erikson's theory explains that people go through a series of 8 crises of identity, and they experience these crises as they age. And at each stage, people struggle to answer a question about themselves before they can move on to the next stage. These are the different stages of psychosocial development according to Erikson. And basically, as we're developing, we're trying to figure out who we are. And Erikson says we look to our interactions with the world and other people around us to figure out exactly who we are. And as we get older, the questions we have to answer about ourselves get more difficult or more complex. So the first stage lasts from birth until about the age of 1.5, and it's called trust versus mistrust. This is when a newborn looks at the world around them, and they want to know, is my world predictable and supportive? Very young children need to develop a sense of trust in their caregivers. So moms and dads need to provide reliability, care, and affection. And when a newborn doesn't experience this, they're going to feel mistrust, or they're not going to feel at ease in the world. Erikson's second stage is called autonomy versus shame and doubt. This occurs between the ages of 1.5 and 3, when a child is wrestling with the following question: can I do things myself, or must I rely on others? During this stage, kids need to develop a sense of personal control over physical skills, like potty training, and they also need to develop a sense of independence. Success in this stage leads to feelings of independence, while failure in this stage leads to feelings of shame and doubt. From the ages of 3 to 5, a person experiences initiative versus guilt, which is basically when a preschool-age child is asking the question, am I a good kid or am I a bad kid? During this stage, children need to begin asserting control and power over the environment around them. It's no longer enough to just control your own body. These kids want to be able to manipulate the world around them in their environment. When they're successful, they feel a sense of purpose. But when they try to exert too much power over their environment, they usually experience disapproval at the hands of their parents, and this results in a sense of guilt, making a kid feel that they are a bad kid. As a child enters grade school, they face a new stage, which is industry versus inferiority. Main question during this time period is, am I successful or am I worthless? Self-worth is measured mostly by academic achievement and to a lesser extent by social achievement. During this stage, kids need to learn how to cope with new social and academic demands. When they do so successfully, they feel a sense of confidence, a sense of ability. And when they fail to do this, they feel inferior or less than their peers. Stage 5 is identity versus role confusion. This usually lasts from the ages of 13 to 21, when a person is really trying to figure out who they are. During this stage, teens need to develop a sense of self and personal identity. When they do this successfully, they feel an ability to stay true to themselves. And when they fail to develop a sense of identity, they feel confused about exactly what their role is, and they have a weak sense of self. So from about 21 to 39, a person is in the intimacy versus isolation stage, which is basically when they're trying to figure out if they're going to spend their life with another person or if they're going to live alone. And this is because young adults need to form intimate, loving relationships with other people. When they do this successfully, they build strong relationships, and when they fail to do this, they feel lonely or isolated. The 7th stage is generativity versus stagnation, and this is for middle-aged adults, usually from 40 to about 65, when they're looking at their productivity in life and asking, will I succeed? Adults need to create or nurture things that will outlast them, often by having children or creating a positive change that benefits other people, in work, in the community. And when they do this successfully, they feel useful and they feel like they've accomplished something. And when they fail to do this, they feel like they're not connected to the world that strongly and they don't feel grounded. The last stage, integrity versus despair, usually is said to start around 65 and last until death. This is for older adults who are basically looking back at their life and saying, have I lived a full life? Do I have any regrets? Older adults need to look back on life and feel a sense of fulfillment. When they have success at this stage, they feel wise or they experience wisdom. And when they look back at their life and they don't like what they see, it means they'll experience regret, they'll be bitter, and they might experience despair.